Hello everyone, I'm Marcus Kimbrew. On this episode of Staying in My Lane, AEW versus WWE. Does WWE finally have some competition? I'll discuss that next on Staying in My Lane. Okay, so um, it was a time of competition. It was a time of rivalry. It was 1996 through 1998. This was what we call the Monday Night Wars. Some of you guys may not be aware of this, but hey, it was a great time in wrestling, in sports entertainment, if you will. This went on for till about March of 2001. WCW versus WWE. WCW at one point in time led the WWE in Monday Night ratings for 83 straight weeks. I mean, beating them down. It was to the point where WWE was about to tap out. It wasn't until along that time when Jim Ross came up with the idea of having The Rock come out there and do what he does best. Stone Cold come out there and do what he does best. It wasn't until a time when WCW came up with the brilliant idea of having David Arquette. That's right, David Arquette, who's an actor, I might add. David Arquette be WCW heavyweight champion of the world. It wasn't until WCW came up with the bright idea of, hey, Monday Night Raw, WWE Monday Night Raw is not going to be live. So how about we go ahead on and spoil what's going to happen. It backfired. People started changing the channel and seeing what WWE had going on. This led to WWE taking over the Monday Night Wars. And on March 26th of 2001, it would be the last episode of WCW, and WWE was the victor of the Monday Night Wars. So what happened after then? Did did anyone else come forward? No. And it showed. WWE became what we call complacent. They knew they had the top spot. Actually, they knew they had the only spot. So they did certain things that we consider to be disrespectful. It's disrespectful to have a black tag team and have them to call themselves Crime Time and brag about robbing people. It's disrespectful to have a Hispanic faction and have them to ride to the ring on lawnmowers, the little tractor lawnmowers. Yes, that is considered to be disrespectful. WWE did this and more. The abuse of women, having them come out in next to nothing. They were supposed to be women wrestlers. However, it didn't seem to be that way because they were coming out having pillow fights, mud fights, uh, bikini fights. It didn't even matter whether they had athleticism or not. The only thing that matters is that they had TNA. And speaking of TNA, that brings me to what we thought was going to be competition for the WWE. It was total nonstop action is what the TNA stood for. It was a wrestling organization led by Jeff Jarrett and Dixie Carter. Not that Dixie Carter of Designing Women, but a different Dixie Carter. So the platform that they had at first was nothing but pay-per-view. If you wanted to see them every week, you'd have to pay the pay-per-view price. People were doing this. People were tuning in. Before long, they got a daytime show on, I think it was Fox. They got a daytime show on Fox. Wasn't but an hour, but they made the most of that hour. And it progressed, it progressed, it progressed. They had the talent. They had people like people you may know, AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. They had Christopher Daniels, the fallen angel. Um, they had a tag team that really shaped wrestling as a tag team back then. It was Bobby Roode and James Storm. You know Bobby Roode now in WWE, of course, because that's what WWE does. They play big bank, take little bank, and they take your people if they consider them to be good. TNA was off to something different though. They had they had athleticism in their wrestlers. They came out with a knockouts division, and the women had athleticism. They had show and they had athleticism. They had a group called the Beautiful People, which were these lady wrestlers that would come out. Even their entrance to the ring made you want to tune in. So they had the uniqueness of not the traditional sided ring, but they had a six-sided ring, which was very unique to the business. They had all of this going. They had momentum. They had momentum. What happened? I'm going to tell you what happened, where they messed up at. And hopefully this young organization of AEW will pay attention. They messed up because they had Jeff Jarrett. And there's nothing wrong with Jeff Jarrett being over the promotion and in it, but no one could beat him. He had to be champion all the time. That was a mistake. Jeff Jarrett decided his wife got ill and his wife died. So he decided he wanted to step away. And what did they do? They hired Hulk Hogan to come in and run the business into the ground. Sorry, let me finish that quote. Run the business into the ground, which is definitely what Hulk Hogan did. He came in and the first thing he did was he took away the six-sided ring. No more of that. He brought back the traditional ring. Then, of course, he put himself in the spotlight because if you know anything about Hulk Hogan, that's what Hulk Hogan is going to do. He's going to make sure that he's in the spotlight at all times. Then, to make matters even worse, he brings in his daughter, Brooke Hogan, to run the knockout division, the women's division of TNA. And I guess you're thinking, dang, never heard of Brooke Hogan as a wrestler. How many titles has she won? How many matches has she competed in? The answer is 0 and 0. And still did not step inside of a ring. But they had her to run the knockouts division. Why? I always used to joke about when they put Hogan in charge that Hogan was receiving 2 checks. He was receiving one for the things that he was doing for TNA, and he was receiving another from the WWE for the things that he was doing for TNA, which was running it right into the ground. So TNA, which still comes on right now, is called Impact, no longer on television. They went from the Fox to the Sci-Fi and got canceled altogether. It went to Pop, actually. And now they've had to do like an app type thing or whatever, which basically means that you're not on television anymore. I think they do have a deal coming into place or whatever, but they are like pretty much a shell of themselves thanks to WWE. WWE has, like I said, they've done nothing but run the business into the ground. They do the same storyline after storyline after storyline. So now let's take a look at AEW. Fresh Start. It's co-run by Cody Rhodes. If any of you know Cody Rhodes, his dad was Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. Cody Rhodes, only fitting that he calls himself the American Nightmare. So Cody was with WWE for some time. His dad was with WWE for some time, and to which he was getting abused. His dad is a legend, 3-time world champion. And I know you're thinking, 3-time world champion, that means nothing to you. But he was 3-time world champion when it meant something to be 3-time world champion. Now you could be 3-time world champion in a weekend, if not a night, okay? So he was treated poorly by WWE, which WWE has a history of doing, is treating the people who go above everything for them, treat them poorly. So he treated poorly to them up until the point where he died. Now, Dusty Rhodes did a lot for WWE before he died. He did a lot for the NXT division. He taught those people how to talk as far as microphone skills go. So the ones that you see now with microphone skills, that's all Dusty. So At that point, um, Vince um, was not doing Cody right. Cody, they gave him like foolish gimmicks. Okay, I mean like foolish gimmicks. Cody would take them and run with them, but they gave him foolish gimmicks. So Cody left. He left the WWE, and he went and started his own company. He went. He took his wife with him, Brandy Rose. Of course, you would have to take your wife with you. You cannot leave her there. If you just walk out on Vince McMahon, he's not gonna take too kindly to that. So he takes his wife with him. They start this company, AEW, as of January this year, 2019. Their first pay-per-view was Double or Nothing. It was in May, and it was sold out. Even when the tickets went on sale, it was straight sold out. It's got Vince McMahon, WWE shaking in their boots. Got them shaking. The reason why it's got it shaking is because WWE has Monday Night Raw. They have what was SmackDown Live on Tuesday nights. But both of them were coming on USA. USA canceled SmackDown Live on Tuesday nights. Yes, they're on Fox now. Yes, they say that they've always wanted to be on Fox. Don't put any stock into what they say. They got canceled by USA because of ratings. Should have got canceled a long time ago, but they finally got canceled. And Fox are the type of people where, hey, we already got the big three with Ice Cube. We already have MMA, UFC. We already have boxing. We have sports. We have football. We have all of that stuff. So what do we need with you? So basically, Vince had to come to the table. WWE had to come to the table with something. They said, okay, tell you what we'll do. We'll give you the best of what we got. At that point in time, Kofi Kingston was the WWE champion, which is on SmackDown. No more of that. Brock, they set up a match real quick on the debut of Friday Night SmackDown, and they had Kofi to drop the belt to Brock Lesnar. More about that a little bit later in my final word. They had him to drop the belt. Then they, which brings Brock Lesnar over to Friday SmackDown, which I don't see how this is going to help them because Brock wrestles whenever he wants to. They're having a draft come this week. I don't know when you're watching this, but it will be on this Friday, and they're going to have a draft. With USA, they were able to do something called brand jumping, meaning people on Monday Night Raw could show up on SmackDown and vice versa. Fox said no, none of that is going to happen. Who's ever on SmackDown is going to be on SmackDown. Who's ever on Monday Night Raw is going to be on Monday Night Raw. There's not going to be any of this brand jumping. Another thing we're not going to be doing, we're not going to be playing you any recaps of what happened on Monday Night Raw because we're not going to promote another station. Now, usually, big company like WWE say, hey, no, we're not going for that. But at this point in time, they can't do it because AEW is coming, and they're coming hard. AEW managed to get a television deal with TNT. Of course, Ted Turner's going to do it because he's probably still in his feelings about how WWE took over with WCW. So, they're rushing. WWE is panicking. They go and they sign Undertaker. They sign Goldberg. But they didn't sign these people just so to bring the fans in. They signed them because they wanted to keep them away from AEW. Why? Because Jon Moxley had already left. I'm sorry, you know him better as Dean Ambrose at WWE. Had already left and gone to AEW. Chris Jericho already left and gone to AEW. So you got an all-star lineup. I mean, yes, in WWE, you got your Becky Lynch. You got Seth Rollins. You got Charlotte Flair. I'm naming all of these people, even though WWE is really not doing anything with them. They have the young talent and stuff. They just refuse to push them. However, you flip it on the other side with AEW, they're all about pushing their young talent. Um, with Cody Rhodes is not even the champion right now. Chris Jericho is the champion. But just a few people that they've got over there. They've got Christopher Daniels, the Fallen Angel. They've got the Young Bucks tag team. As far as women go, they've got the amazing Awesome Kong. They have Nia the Beast Rose. Nala is a first. She is the first transgender wrestler. They have her over there. They have Dr. Britt Baker. Um, they have the new women's champion, Riho. They got her over there. Okay, so they've got a lot of stuff going on over there. As far as commentators go, um, AEW has brought back Jim Ross, who is one of the best in the business. He's been fired by WWE so many times. So, of course, why wouldn't they get him back? They've got Justin Roberts, who was also fired by WWE. You see, the thing about it is AEW doesn't have to go out really searching for talent. WWE does not have a shortage of enemies. They don't. And last but not least, a blast from the past. They got Tony Schiavone as the commentator for their Wednesday night show that comes on TNT at 7 o'clock. We flip that. WWE, they had been having Michael Cole, Corey Graves, pretty much Monday Night Raw, Tuesday Night SmackDown. However, that had to come to an end because, as I said before, Fox wasn't playing it, and they wanted the best. So, therefore, Corey Graves, Byron Saxton, occasionally Renee Young, and Michael Cole would be going to Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. Okay, so who would Monday Night Raw have? I actually have to look down to say these names. Monday Night Raw for commentary has Big Joseph, Dion Madden, and Jerry Lawler. Yeah, that Jerry Lawler. The Jerry Lawler who was old 20 years ago when WCW was in effect, and he was a regular commentator along with Jim Ross. You know, just off of the subject, I want to apologize for my grays. I went to try and get some dye, to dye it black or whatever, so you guys wouldn't see that. But every place I went to said that the warehouse was out. Something about on back order because some guy named Jerry Lawler had ordered and purchased all the black hair dye that they had. That's right. Jerry Lawler's hair is still pitch black. It's blacker than mine. It's blacker than people who are 15, 16 years old at this point. Jerry, I know that you want to date the younger women, the 20-something-year-olds or whatever like that. Hey, I will say there's nothing wrong with that, but, to each his own. But let it go, dude. Your hair is not black anymore. Let that stuff go. Let the gray show. But anyway, the other thing about Jerry Lawler was, I'm listening to him commentate, right? And it sounded so familiar to me. I couldn't put my finger on it, and then it finally dawned on me. You guys remember the video game? This was before 2K, WWE 2K. They had WWE SmackDown versus Raw. And Jerry Lawler was on there along with Jim Ross. Jerry Lawler today is still saying the same things that he was saying on that video game. I kid you not. If you can find it, pull it out, play it, and you will hear it's the same pattern. It's everything. I mean, you talk about being in the game. It's like definitely that with him. So, don't get me wrong. I am not putting down WWE totally, but it is such a breath of fresh air to see something like AEW finally come out and challenge them. Right now, I'd say they're not challenging them at all because WWE is a very big company. However, at this point, they have a great shot at being WWE and better than WWE. Okay? So, that's about all I got for that. I got to find a word that I'm coming back with in just a moment. And we're back. So, part of my final word, we're born with five senses. Unfortunately, none of those senses include time. Do you know a lot of us don't know, like, can't measure a sense of time until it's measured against something else? Like, for instance, my little video that just ran right before my final word that promotes my books, both Peeking into the Soul and The Range, is 9 seconds long. Now, I actually thought that was a long time when someone else told me it wasn't. But I really didn't realize how short of a time it was until the WWE Championship match last Friday night on SmackDown when Kofi Kingston took on Brock Lesnar. That match lasted 9 seconds. They had Kofi Kingston to drop the belt against Brock Lesnar in 9 seconds. So you go through all of this build-up with Kofi Mania throughout WrestleMania to have him getting the title from Daniel Bryan. You have him defending it successfully against Daniel Bryan, successfully against Kevin Owens, successfully against Randy Orton, only to allow him to drop the belt in 9 seconds. WWE, you should know that yes, you did embarrass Kofi Kingston. You did take away the momentum that he had, that we had grown for him. And also, shout out to Kofi. That's why I'm wearing my New Day shirt. I ain't got my bootios in the background. But you did take that away from him. But you also took the momentum away from the WWE Championship belt. My only question is, when will we as fans start holding you accountable for making those kinds of decisions? This is not the first time this has happened. This has also happened before with Daniel Bryan, who dropped his title at WrestleMania in like 12, 13 seconds, something like that. So we can't even attribute it to race in this point. With WCW, part of their fallout was David Arquette winning the World Championship, which we felt like was the most ignorant thing that he could have done at that point in time. You have an actor to win your world championship. You have people that stand in line that do nothing but travel up and down the road night in and night out and compete. And you have him to win your world championship. This is no different. Kofi has traveled up and down this road for 11 years, did everything that this company wanted him to do. But you have him to drop the belt in 9 seconds. Don't get me wrong. I know Brock Lesnar was supposed to win. That's fine. But 9 seconds, that's insulting. So my ask for AEW, as you continue to build up your brand, let's not make these same mistakes, because this is what drives the fans away. Believe it or not, it does. It drives us away. It makes us to want to tune in to something to watch. That's why we're buzzing about you right now, AEW. And I know that you're small right now, but we're actually the fans, the true wrestling fans, the ones who watch the Kenny Omegas and who go online for the Danny Jordans and the Jordan Graces, the Shinsuke Nakamuras. We're cheering for you. We know that you're against a Goliath right now and you're only a David, but we're hoping that you can be Gil Harris and knock out Conor McGuire. Okay, yeah, that's a New Guy reference. If you haven't seen the movie, please go check that out. That's a New Guy reference. So those are my final thoughts for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please be sure to subscribe and tell someone else about it as well. All right? I'm Marcus Kimbrough, and I will see you next time on Staying in My Lane.